The Holy Gospel according to John, the first chapter. Glory to you, O Lord. The next day, Jesus decided to go to Galilee. He found Philip and said to him, "Follow me." Now Philip was from Bethsaida, the city of Andrew and Peter. Philip found Nathanael, said to him, "We found him about whom Moses in the law and also the prophets wrote, Jesus, son of Joseph from Nazareth." Nathanael said to him, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" Philip said to him, "Come and see." When Jesus saw Nathanael coming toward him, he said to him, "Here is truly an Israelite in whom there is no deceit." Nathanael asked him, "Where did you get to know me?" Jesus answered, "I saw you under the fig tree before Philip called you." Nathanael replied, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel." Jesus answered, "Do you believe because I told you that I saw you under the fig tree? You'll see greater things than these." And he said to him, "Very truly I tell you, you will see heaven opened and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. Oh, do we got it? Then you get to play along too. Isn't this going to... sermon. All right. Let us all give thanks to God for Dennis. Because you get to play along too now. Dennis says, "What have we been doing for the last..." You know, we can work with one for now. Because I actually do have something that I need somebody to mash a button for. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I tell you, this is the one day that I decided, I'm going to make use of the projectors. Because sight can be tricky, can't it? So, I want you to take a look at this. We're going to try a test. What do you see? A girl. Okay. How many can see the old man? How many see the girl? How many see both? Can everybody see both? Okay. Because here's the old man, right? Here's his nose and his mustache. And he's got frizzy hair. And the girl's facing the other way. Here's her chin and nose and eyelash. And that's her bob. All right, let's try the next one. I got mash one more time. That's okay. What do you see? An old woman. How many see the young woman? How many see the old woman? How many see both? Okay. So, the old woman, here's her fur, right? And she's got a scarf, here's her nose and her chin. Right? The young woman, here's her choker, she's looking away. Here's a nose and an eyelash, and she's wearing a big plumed hat and a fur, right? Do you see it now? All right, one more. What do you see? A duck? Anybody see the rabbit? How many see the duck? How many see both? Yeah, see, the rabbit is this way. Here's the eye and those are the ears. And the duck is facing the other way. Here's the eye and the beak, right? Yeah. Can anything good come out of Nazareth? Now, whether he's joking or not, Nathanael shows that he can see only one thing coming from Nazareth, and that's nothing good. He himself is from Cana. It's a small town located near Nazareth. So the question is he disparaging a small town rival? Can anything good come from Solon? From Mount Vernon? Or is he incredulous that anybody important can come from a place like his hometown? Really? From a little town like mine? You can almost see his friend Philip's smile at his friend's flippant response. Come and see. Now, the word for seeing that's used throughout this gospel is not just a physical seeing, but it implies perception as well. The ability not just to see, but to see. It's like when I asked you to look at these slides and then told you to look deeper. Look until you can see the other figure. It's a sight that goes beyond the superficial to looking at what a thing really is. Next, Jesus sees Nathanael walking up to him with Philip. And he says, "Now here's a man of Israel who will tell it like it is." See, Jesus sees not only Nathanael walking up to him, but he sees Nathanael, sees who he is inside, clearly enough where he evokes a response from Nathanael. "Oh, wait, what? And how do you know me?" Jesus smiles. "Oh, I saw you before Philip even came and said a word to you." And in response to these declarations, Nathanael is moved to call him Rabbi, teacher, Son of God, King of Israel. He's moved because Jesus saw him for who he was, saw him, the truth of him. A guy who's a bit of a wise ass, who tells it like it is. And he says, "You've seen my being before I even knew anything about you." What do you see? How many times have you seen something that wasn't there? Have you made an assumption about somebody based on their age, their gender, their clothing, skin color, country of origin, accent, and just been totally wrong? I've had that experience more than a few times. One of those was normally when I do confirmation, when I first started at First Lutheran, I would meet with the ninth graders and their parents in fall of their ninth grade year before we had confirmation. And there were a couple things that I did there, but one of the things I was doing was just checking up to see how things were going at school. That first year in high school can be a little difficult sometimes. And so one of my standard questions to ask was, "What's your favorite class? What's the best thing about high school right now?" And Megan was a wonderful young lady. I'd known her for about 4 years. And we were having this meeting. Now Megan, I loved her to death, but she was a ditz. Right? You know, one of those who you'd be doing something in class and, "What? Huh?" So we sat down and we started talking. I said, "Well, what's your favorite class?" Now I'm expecting something like science or math. Maybe, nobody ever picks history. I don't know why. And she says, "AutoCAD." I was amazed. And then I was shocked. I was shocked because I was amazed. Because in that moment, I realized what I had done. I'd seen her only one way. How can a ditz, and a female ditz at that, like AutoCAD, be doing well at it? See, I had seen her in the same way that Nathanael did. Can anything good come out of Nazareth? Hey, how can a ditz like AutoCAD? See, that's superficial. It's lazy. And it's deeply unchristian way to see. And then, thanks be to God, I got schooled. I had an opportunity to see deeper into who she was. And this is still something I carry with me for those moments when I'm looking superficially. I keep getting reminded, no, you got to look deeper. Where are the places in our life where we need to be schooled, reminded to open our eyes and truly see? Not just rest on what we know, but truly see what is. Where are your blind spots? Southern accent, an Ivy League education, a political affiliation. What do you see? Now, we see better when we're together. When we can all look at something and describe what we see, listen to what others see, and then work together to create a clear vision of what is. I've seen people get into arguments over these pictures and what is or is not in them. But both those things exist in the picture, don't they? Even if you can't see it. So we need the eyes of others to help us see the entirety of what is. And at its best, this is what community does, especially one that's diverse. It helps us see things in people and situations that we otherwise couldn't see ourselves. And the hard part is trusting that community. trusting that what they say is there is truly there, even as what I see is there is there. Yeah, see? The young woman and the old woman, the rabbit and the duck, both are in the picture. And this clarity through community is what is going on between Samuel and Eli. Now, the sense that's being used in this story is hearing, but the principle's the same. See, Eli's old, losing his sight and his vision. Interesting distinction. Samuel, young, he's sleeping at the foot of the Ark of the Covenant, the very seat of God on earth, and a voice, Samuel, Samuel, awake? He hurries to the side room where Eli is sleeping. Here I am, you called me. Eli, groggily, getting woken up by his young apprentice, perhaps a little grumpy, says, yeah, go lie down, I didn't call you. So Samuel goes back to his cot. And he's just dropping off to sleep when Samuel, and awake once more, perhaps a bit irritated, he hurries to Eli. Here I am, you called me. Eli, also getting irritated. Son, I did not call you, go lie down. Samuel, perhaps getting a little frustrated at these games older adults play, goes, lays down by the ark. See, he doesn't know the voice calling him because he's not heard it before. But somebody else has. Again, Samuel's called. Again, he goes to Eli. Here I am, for you called me. Almost a, what do you want, old man? And finally, Eli sees. See, his vision had been dim before, but now he knows. He's had this experience before. Samuel, I did not call you, but I know what's going on. Go back, lie down. And if you're called again, say, speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. And now with this insight from Eli, Samuel sees this encounter differently. It's a call of a different kind, one that he has no frame of reference for before. And so when God comes and stands there and calls him, Samuel responds. See, Samuel needed the wisdom and seeing of Eli to make sense of what was happening, to see God's call for him clearly. Together we can discern things more clearly than we can apart. We can better discern for our own life and also for our corporate life together where God is calling us. Because if we just rely on ourselves, our vision can be skewed. It can get us into trouble, can it? What do you see? See, our perception of ourselves might not always be the most trustworthy. Have you ever met the person who thinks they're the smartest one in the room? And they aren't. But they can't see it, much less admit it. How about the person who has a wonderful gift, playing an instrument, drawing, painting, something like that, who honestly downplays that skill, saying, it's not anything worth sharing. I've met anorexics who look in the mirror and see themselves as fat when their bones are showing through their skin. Can you think of anyone like this who cannot see themselves clearly? What places are you blind to in your own life? Can you even imagine that there's something about yourself that you might not be the best judge of? How do we respond to the voices of others? Immediately shutting them down because they don't match our sight? Or do we pause and consider? Consider, well, what if they're right? Now, not every voice sees us clearly. Go back to my first example. The voice that calls you worthless, that calls you less than whole, that sees you as something less than one created in the image of God is to be rejected. But do we consider those who speak truth in love to us? Who point out a place where we are blind? Who correct gently but firmly? The words may hurt, they may be difficult to hear, but they are spoken to build us up, not tear us down. What does God see? God in Jesus sees Nathanael first. God sees us first. The psalmist reminds us of this. God sees our sitting down and our rising. God sees our thoughts from afar. God knit us together in the womb, knows every hair on our head. God saw us long before we were brought to this font. God knew us long before we even thought about God. And God sees in you one who is fearfully and wonderfully made. God sees you, the real you. God looks beyond the awkwardness of the teen years to a strong and talented woman in you. God knows the depth of your loss. God sees the breadth of your talent. God sees you. God loves you. God claims you. Regardless of your skin color or age or sex or anything else, God sees the entirety of who you are and loves you. Enough to send God's Son to die so that you might live. Live free of all those things that restrain you from becoming the wholeness, the fullness of who you really are. And we can see like that too. That's what Jesus, the light of the world, tried to do in his time here on earth. To shine light in the darkness so that we might truly see each other. To see the talents that lie within each of us, the complexity of who we are. To see each other not as competitors in a zero-sum game, but partners in working for the kingdom of heaven here on earth. To shine a light so that we might see where to go in this world. To walk a path of love, forgiveness, and grace. To walk with friends, neighbors, and partners. So in this season of Epiphany, this season of light, may your eyes be opened to see yourself and this world as God sees. And may you ever walk in the light.